While there were definitely some weird little Japanese games on the PS1, a lot of them were never translated into other languages, relegating them to relative obscurity. But with the PS2, more and more of them got translated, and they did well here. The game a lot of people will look to as the real breakthrough in this genre, if you can call it a genre, is Katamari Damacy. But long before that game came out, a little game called Mr. Mosquito was the poster child. Granted, Mr. Mosquito did nowhere near as well as Katamari Damacy did, and has been forgotten to time. But if you think something like Katamari is weird or quirky, you clearly haven't seen the likes of this game. As the title might suggest, you take the role of a single mosquito, out to suck the blood of a family of 3 living in Japan. And if that all wasn't strange enough for your taste, the entire game is narrated by this sorta off-kilter, monotone woman's voice, who begins the game by explaining the premise and will then proceed to interject before and after each level with some really suggestive information about the family and their activities.
You should suck from those spots.
But all the aesthetics aside, which I will grant you are the most important part of the game, Mr. Mosquito is, like so many other games of its ilk, actually pretty simple. Your goal is to suck as much blood as the game tells you to. This varies from level to level, and as the game goes on, you'll need to drain more and more blood. At the same time, the game is constantly warning you of all these hazards. A draft coming from a nearby vent, new protections put up like a mosquito coil. But I found most of the time, unless you were going for all the collectibles, they didn't make that much of a difference. In fact, if you aren't hunting down the game's multitude of different collectible items, it isn't really difficult at all. On the one hand, I'm not a huge fan of games that hide a bunch of their fun behind some obtuse collecting angle. But the core mechanics of Mr. Mosquito, the flight controls in particular, are so weak that honestly I kinda didn't want to play any more of it than I had to. It's pretty hard to get a flight game right, especially when you're flying in such tight quarters. But the camera in Mr. Mosquito simply does not cooperate at all, which compounds things like the turning speed and the lag that exists in the execution of so many of the maneuvers. But despite having to deal with the lackluster gameplay, Mr. Mosquito remained relatively easy, and I always wanted to see what weird new scenario that the designers of the game had cooked up. The levels are nice and short, allowing you to just play a quick level or two and then get on with doing something else, so I never really got tired of the game. And honestly, I think most of the people looking at a game like this are probably a bit less concerned with perfection in gameplay design than other people might be. Everything about this game, the basic concept, the core mechanics, the weird story interludes, and insane scenarios that make up its levels, is kooky and fun in a way that just makes me happy. Is it particularly fun to play? No, but it is an absolute joy to experience. US versions of Mr. Mosquito are kind of rare, probably because not a lot of them were released over here, and you're definitely going to end up paying more than $20 for it. So it is entirely up to you whether or not the quirkiness is worth the price. Because the gameplay certainly isn't. Every Monday I look at a game that's at least 10 years old, what I would consider to be retro, and I see if it's held up today. If you like that idea, be sure to subscribe so you can see my latest videos. If you like this video in particular, be sure to hit that like button, and thanks for watching.